Prologue, different places, same cases. On a dark night in the city of Gotham, nothing really changes in this place. Everyone constantly look over their shoulders in fear as crimes in at an all-time rise. Robberies, murder, kidnapping, drive-by, hijacking, gang wars and so much more. The Gotham police were up to their necks in solving such crimes as taking down one results in two more popping out of nowhere. It doesn't make things better with some of the members letting the criminals go scot-free due to bribery and blackmail. However, the criminals may have had precautions against the law enforcers, but what they didn't, or rather couldn't set up countermeasures for was a certain man who shares a similar purpose with the police, but isn't a part of them whatsoever. This man works in the shadows, ready to pounce at them without them noticing. The last thing that any of his victims would see is his descent towards them with the appearance of a black predatory bat, and wake up later to find them tied up in front of the police station. Hence everyone began to call this shadowing vigilante Batman, or the Dark Knight of Gotham. For as long as the people could remember, this dark hero has been solving numerous crimes, and defeating many villains possessing powers beyond what no other human could go up against. And as time went, Batman was joined by several other heroes with the same purpose. Names like Robin, Batgirl and Nightwing, who was formerly the first Robin, before passing the cowl to the second, and left for another city. At this moment, a police radio is currently passing information to the police cars of a regular crime for them to quickly move in and neutralize. All units, please be informed that there has been a robbery over at Calico's Jewelry, and the suspects are currently making their escape in a getaway vehicle, which is a blue 2016 Ford Transit 150 van. One of the policemen picked up the radio and responded to the call. This is 8 Lincoln 30 to dispatch. We read you loud and clear. We're engaging pursuit of the robbers, over. They drove off in search of the robbers. However, what they didn't know was that someone else was tapping into their communications, and we're currently seeing him perched on top of a tall tower spire, with a wireless headset to his ears. Strange thing was that this person isn't Batman, but he isn't the other members of the Bat family either. This person currently wears a black outfit, a gray flak jacket, a forehead protector with a long black cloth, and black sandals. Over it he also wore a hooded short-sleeved red coat with a black flame pattern around the hem, and to top it all off is a white porcelain mask crafted to resemble a fox with long ears and red tribal markings on it. Looks like it's time to go to work, the mysterious figure muttered to himself before jumping off the tower spire in a swan dive. Upon drawing close to the ground, he stretched out an arm towards a building, then a long golden chain shot out from his palm and pinned to the roof. Then he swung over to land on a nearby rooftop and ran along it to the end before performing a really long jump with a blue aura visible on the soles of his feet and reached the next roof. He vaulted over the vents without losing speed and shot yet another golden chain at a tower spire before rappelling towards it at high speed before shooting over it like a slingshot and descends towards yet another rooftop before landing with a roll and resuming his run. Elsewhere, the aforementioned van turned down an alleyway and stopped before a conspicuous garage. The door opened and several men jumped out wearing black clothing and black ski masks with smirks visible on their faces as they carried bags of jewelry from the van. "This has to be one of our best scores ever," said one of the robbers. "You said it, man, and we made our getaway fast enough before the police could trace us," said another. "And best of all, neither Batman nor his lackeys would be able to find us by the time we're long gone," said a third. They were about to approach the garage when several knives struck the ground. They are black diamond-shaped daggers with handles wrapped in bandages and small rings attached to the end of them. The robbers immediately took out guns and rifles in alert as they looked around in search of the interloper. Suddenly they heard someone whistle at them from above and quickly looked up to see a man in a weird outfit standing on the roof, looking down at them. "Batman and his lackeys should be the least of your worries when making getaways," said the man. "Who the hell are you?" one of the robbers yelled. "Oh, my name is none of your illegal business," he replied. Like we care since you're gonna die, shoot him. All of the gang aimed their firearms at him and attacked. The man was riddled with bullets before plummeting to the ground and landing with a crash. The robbers laughed out loud upon seeing him dead. Ha 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 ha. That guy's practically a greenhorn, should have never taken the stupid superhero business, said one of them. Suddenly he felt someone tap his shoulder, and a familiar voice spoke from behind him. On the contrary, you and your friends are lousy shots. He turned around only for a gloved fist to smash into his face, resulting in a broken nose as an audible crunch was heard before being launched a few meters and crumbling to the ground, knocked out. The remaining robbers were stunned to see that the person whom they supposedly shot down is still alive, and standing right next to them. What the how are you still alive? The man shrugged. That's for me to know, and for you to figure out in prison. He dashed off as the robbers shot at him rapidly. He was keeping pace ahead of their range of fire. Bang, 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 click, click, click. He smirked upon hearing that sound before making his way towards them. One of the robbers launched a straight punch, but he caught it in his palm before retaliating with a strong button hook, causing the robber to vomit and collapse to the ground. The masked man heard footsteps from behind and performed a backflip over his attacker before stomping on the head to drive him hard to the ground, knocking. His ears picked up the sound of a gun being reloaded and quickly reached into his pouch and flung a knife at his target. Arg! The last robber cried out in pain as the knife stabbed his hand, forcing him to drop his rifle. Next thing he knew was that a golden chain wrapped around his waist and pulled him towards the masked figure, who had a fist reared back in waiting. Going up. The man lashed out with a devastating uppercut to launch the robber a couple feet into the air with the chain still attached coming down. Then he grabbed the chain and pulled hard to slam the robber hard into the ground. Then the masked figure looked around to see the criminals all knocked out, and nodded in approval of the scene. Now here's the annoying part, cleaning up after them. About 20 minutes later, a fleet of police cars arrived at the area to see the robbers all tied up together with what appears to be metallic wires and the bags of jewelry inside the van. Hey, I found something here. It looks like a note, said the policeman holding up a piece of paper. The captain approached the note and read it out loud. Here are the guys you were looking for. Things would have gone better for them if they simply studied hard at school and would have gotten a decent job. Don't you think? Your friendly neighborhood ninja, Zenko. Several of the policemen chuckled in amusement, while some others were much more serious. That Zenko fellow again, huh? Just who the heck is he? Is he friends with Batman? Asked one of the policemen. I don't know. Commissioner Gordon was informed by the Batman that he has no affiliation with Zenko. All we could get from the prisoners was that he fights like a ninja and seems to use golden chains. All in all, we'll need to bring him in for questioning to find out exactly who he is and what he wants. Yes, sir. Somewhere on top of a building, the masked figure could be seen sitting on ledge and watching over the city whilst letting out a sigh of boredom. It has been 4 months since we appeared here after the war, Naruto. Suddenly a dark voice spoke up from within the mind of the person who didn't react to it in shock. I know, Kurama. I searched for many ways to get back to our world and came up with nothing at all. The man pulled down his hood to reveal blonde spiky hair before taking off the mask to reveal a rather handsome face which possessed 3 whisker-like markings on each cheek, giving him the impression of a fox. We were right at the climax of the war against Madara before Kagaya entered the fray, Sasuke, and I had it tough, but then we were able to place the seal that the Rakuto Sennin gave to us. But what we didn't take into account was the reaction afterwards. The sudden ejection of my brethren's chakra had caused some sort reaction with your father's Hiroshin kunai, which somehow warped us into this world. That's pretty much the gist of things. This world is pretty strange with how people are able to live without chakra, but they seem to make it up with technology that is way beyond our own. Naruto placed his chin on his palms, deep in thought. Let's not forget about the superheroes we've been hearing about. Yeah, guys like Superman, The Flash, Green Lantern, not to mention Batman owning this place in particular. Most of these guys got powers which could have counted as Kekkei Genkai in our world, and they use them to help to people, which is an A-okay in my book. Not to mention the super villains whom they go up against. Naruto looked thoughtful at that statement. Yeah, but not all of them resort to crime for selfish reasons, unlike some whom I've met back home. Kurama shrugged his shoulders before relaxing within the seal. So what is your current plan now? Well, I'll need to do some more training with the scrolls that Kaa-sen and Tu-sen left behind for me to inherit and master, not to mention mastering the 4 fangs of the dragon too. I've been hearing their call for a while, but I was putting them off until now. I've picked the perfect to train, Japan. Kurama simply deadpanned at this. Your main reason is because of the ramen there. Details. Let's get a move on. Naruto put on his mask and hid before leaping off the building towards his temporary hideout to pack some of his stuff before making his way to the airport to sneak into a plane for a quick flight to his chosen destination. Meanwhile, somewhere near the sea is a rather classy mansion situated close to the edge of a cliff. This building happens to belong to Gotham's renowned billionaire and owner of the Wayne Corp, Bruce Wayne. The place might seem to be the ideal place for a man like him, but there's more to this man than meets the eye. We venture into the manor, and through a hidden passageway, which leads us into a cave with bats flying around and numerous varieties of technology ranging from automobiles to jet planes. In the center of the cave are computers with many monitors, and someone sits before them. The man wears a 2-piece gray bodysuit with a bat-shaped emblem sewn on the chest region. A black cowl with long pointed earpieces covers his head, and half of the face with only the mouth and chin exposed. The cowl is attached to a black scalloped cape that hangs down below the knees, long black gloves with 3 pointed accoutrements on each of the forearms, yellow square belt with multiple pouches, and black boots reaching up to the knees. This man is none other than Batman, the guardian of Gotham. The man is currently focused on a particular monitor, which is currently displaying a news channel for the recent events. On the news today, there was a robbery over at the Calico's jewelry, and the criminals, the Gotham police, later found them detained with a note written by this mysterious vigilante, who goes by the name Zenko, which according to the Japanese means good fox. Just who is this man, and what is his reason for such actions? Could he be affiliated to Batman and his partners? Said the newscaster. Batman turned off the monitor, and looked to be rather deep in thought until he heard footsteps from behind, and looked to see an elderly man with gray hair, and wearing a butler's outfit. This Zenko fellow is quite the mystery, wouldn't you say, Master Bruce? Said the butler. Batman took off his cowl with his eyes still on the screen. Maybe so, Alfred, but his battle style is what irks me. His usage of shuriken, kunai, golden chain and stealth all links to the capabilities of a ninja. Sounds just like you. True, but majority of ninjas come from many clans with different ideals, so we don't know of his purpose here in Gotham, or if he doing all this as a form of a ruse. I need to find this man to make sure that he isn't a threat in disguise. Well, it looks to me that this fellow seems to respond instantly to any distress calls from the Gotham police, and moves ahead of them to absolve it, and leave before their arrival, said Alfred. I figured as much, which is why the next time we'll be waiting for him, and finally get to the bottom of things. It was a busy night for Batman alongside his partners in Gotham City, and he was feeling quite annoyed about something, and it definitely has nothing to do with the recent crimes tonight nor the past nights either, as he perched on the roof of a tall building after helping the police arrest a group of drug dealers. He heard someone land next to him and turned to see one of his partners. A black-haired teen wearing a black eye mask, a costume that has a red torso with a yellow R on his right pectoral and pants, yellow stitching and utility belt, black boots, short sleeves and gloves, and a cape that is black on the outside and yellow on the inside. Did you get any clues, Robin? Asked Batman. Not even a hint. I'm telling you, it's like this Zenko fellow just disappeared from the grid, said Robin. That's certainly strange. In past events, Zenko often appeared during criminal activities and leaves after detaining the criminals. What could have changed his pattern and stop resolving the crimes? Robin looked at Batman curiously, but what's the big deal about this Zenko guy? From what I'm seeing, he's rather a guy helping us out by taking down bad guys. Maybe so, Zenko has the training and mannerisms of a ninja. One of the greatest tools of a ninja is deception, something we need to find out if he is using just that, and where exactly he came from to figure which clan he originates, Batman explained. So a wild card in other words, said Robin. Well, wild card or no, you guys won't be able to find him. A feminine voice spoke up for Batman, and Robin to turn towards the voice. The voice belonged to a girl with long auburn hair, wearing a black bodysuit with a cowl similar to Batman's, yellow gloves, boots and belt with the bat emblem on her chest being yellow. Her short cape is black on the outside and yellow on the inside. What do you mean by that, Batgirl? Asked Robin confusedly. Aside from his absence here in Gotham, I was watching a documentary on a Japanese channel as reference for my school project when it suddenly switched to breaking news about an outgoing war between two Yakuza clans in a district. I was about to shrug it off when I saw that Zenko guy show up on TV and take down both clans. So I suited up and came over to tell you guys about this, said Batgirl. That explains why he wasn't responding to the crimes back then, said Batman. Yeah, he wasn't around to begin with. We waited around for a week, and she finds out from watching an international TV channel, because of a school project, Robin grumbled. Batgirl smirked in return. Goes to show how far education can take you, something you always complained about. Robin chose not to say anything to prove her point. So what happens now, Batman? For now we continue with what we do, but keep tabs on his activities over there, though I get the feeling that he wouldn't be staying there for long and might be moving to different cities at certain intervals, said Batman. So there's a chance that he might meet guys like Superman and the Flash during this tour of his? Asked Robin. Chances are quite large with that question along with his return, so we'll be on standby till then, said Batman. Personally, he could always contact Superman since they're friends in a way should the mysterious ninja encounter the Man of Steel. Robin and Batgirl nodded in affirmation before taking out their grappling hooks and firing them at nearby buildings, and then swinging off to patrol the city, leaving behind Batman to his thoughts of just where the mysterious. Meanwhile, we find said ninja at the beach over at Ogasawara Islands, wearing a pair of orange swimming trunks and blue sunglasses, while relaxing on a beach chair with an umbrella overhead to provide shade, and a glass of cocktail in hand while a radio is placed nearby playing some music. Yeah, I can tell you that one doesn't get a chance to relax like this back at home, said Naruto before taking a sip from his drink. He heard a scoff and pushed up his glasses to glance to the side and look at who scoffed. It was his partner Kurama, who was out of the seal with Naruto about the size of a regular fox. He was currently curled up on a beach blanket taking a snooze when he heard Naruto talk. Oh please, the only time you relax is when you go to the hot springs, otherwise you would be training your head off, because of the Uchiha, or the Akatsuki, which is why I'm wondering why you aren't training now. Said Kurama. Relax Kurama, I am training. My clones are currently at the cavern reading the scrolls. When they dispel and transfer the knowledge to me, then I'll create more clones to practice the techniques memorized, Naruto explained. And what about the 4 fangs of the dragon? Aren't your clones going to practice with them as well? According to the letter which Kao-san left for me, these weapons are sentient and demand respect. Should I use my clones, they will reject me and permanently forbid me from wielding them, so I won't take that risk. If you say so, I suggest you hurry up so we can leave and see other places. I get the feeling that we might be missing out on something interesting if we stay here any longer, said Kurama. Naruto can't blame him. Kurama likes to relax from time to time, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't be spoiling for a fight every now and then. Naruto had just finishing drinking the cocktail when he felt memories of the shadow clones whom he had ordered to read the scrolls flow into his mind. So he reached under the beach chair and pulled out a scroll, which he unrolled and channeled chakra into one of the seals to release his black and orange tracksuit and ninja sandals. Kurama popped an eye open to see his partner dressing and figured what was going on. Finally going to train? Asked Kurama. Yup, so no need to wait up for me. I might take a while. Naruto walked off towards the area marked for his training out of prying eyes. He had arrived at the nearby clearing in the forest where he saw the last of the shadow clones waiting with 2 scrolls in hand. The clone handed over the scroll and nodded before disappearing in a puff of smoke. He unfurled one of the scrolls and channeled chakra into the seal engraved upon it to unleash a surge of energy that knocked Naruto back a bit, but he got to his feet and approached the scroll to see 4 weapons levitating before him each, that he could identify from his mother's words. First was an Azuma, the 3-section staff embroidered with the designs of a dragon wrapped around each of the sticks. It was said to be able to command lightning from the heavens. Next is a pair of sickles tied together by a short chain, which shows that it could be wielded like a nunchaku, with its name being Banrai, fabled to crush mountains with its thunder. Levitating next to them is a spear with 2 side blades pointing down like an upside-down crescent, going by the name Byako, a hungry ghost who calls the cleaving wind. The fourth to last one is Gunshin, an okatana, which has an intricately designed blade and purple sword grip with a small blade jutting out from the bottom of the handle. This weapons had been said to command the flame of the Dragon King. These are the 4 fangs of the dragon. I can sense their powerful aura all the way from here. Naruto recalled the brief history of these weapons from his mother's chakra avatar within the seal back then. She said that these weapons originated from a mystical heath of eternal flames called the Spirit Forge, which was said to grant mystical weapons to whomever is worthy, but inflicts inexplicable pain to those being otherwise. Knowing that they possess a certain level of sentience, Naruto stepped forward and proclaimed, "I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. I am a member of the royal family of the Uzumaki clan. I stand before you today with a request to be your wielder like my ancestors in the past. I swear to you that I shall not wield you as nothing more than a tool, but as a partner in the battlefield." The 4 fangs glowed faintly, then they floated towards Naruto, swirling around him slowly, almost as if carefully examining him for any signs of deception, which can't help but make him feel a bit nervous. After what feels like a minute, the weapons levitated in front of him, then Banrai floated up to Naruto as if beckoning him to hold it. Naruto took the chain sickles into his hands and instantly felt its aura flow throughout his body. He felt its desire for battle, and the wanting to take down all those that would oppose it, and its wielder. Then it converted to red energy and melded with his left arm, leaving behind a tattoo of a red dragon. Next was an Azuma. Its aura tells him that it's witty at times, but would instantly get serious when the situation calls for it, and left an orange dragon tattoo on his right hand. Byako followed with an aura depicting its being more technical than pure offense, before a purple dragon tattoo across the shoulder blades. Finally is Gunshin, whose aura depicted its seriousness and strong focus on the task laid before it. However, the melding from them was rather painful, making Naruto fall to his knees to endure. It felt as if hot metal was pressed on several parts of his body. Eventually the pain faded and Naruto got back to his feet, feeling the presence of the weapons, and their acceptance of being their wielder. "Thank you, and I promise that I shall never disappoint you all," said Naruto. Then the orange dragon tattoo glowed brightly before it faded to reveal Naruto holding the 3-section staff in hand. He felt memories of what appears to be his ancestors wielding an Azuma in battle flowing into his mind. Naruto formed a shadow clone who took out a pair of kunai, while he held both ends of the staff in a triangular formation. Clone charged forward and started to slash. Naruto used the ends to parry the incoming strikes, then let go of one hand to swipe with the staff like a whip for the clone to duck under it and counter with a low sweep kick. Naruto jumped into the air and descended with a vertical lash, with the clone raising both kunai. However, it ended up blocking the middle length, and the other end whacked it in the back, leaving itself open for Naruto to pull back and grab the end before thrusting both into the clone's chest, dispelling it in a puff of smoke. Naruto was mildly surprised with the capabilities despite the short spar, and resolved to learn more of the katas along with the other weapons. A month later, Naruto had reached a high level of proficiency in wielding the fangs. Thanks to the times he had sparred with Tenten and her weapons back at Konoha, and his fights with swordsmen on during missions out of the village, though using Banrai required more practice due to having never met anyone wielding a weapon like it before, but he eventually got the hang of it without worry of cutting himself. However, it didn't mean that he slacked off on his ninja training either. He made use of his shadow clones to practice jutsus from the scroll in hand, and even does it alongside them to stay in shape and not be lazy like his old friend Shikamaru. However, during the end of the month, that he found something rather interesting. Naruto and Kurama, who hid away 8 of his 9 tails to ride on the former's shoulders, had long since left the Ogasawara Islands, and were taking a tour through Japan, all the while detaining criminals. Right at this moment, they were currently at Takachiho, while viewing a large cave with some of the tourists from an observation point. It had been told in the legends of the Japanese religion Shinto that the sun goddess Amaterasu hid herself inside in grief after her brother Susanoo the storm god went on a rampage, leaving Japan in complete darkness for a long time, until the gods conspired to lure her out of the cave by throwing a party, which piqued her curiosity enough to come out. Never thought that this world would also know about the Shinto too, thought Naruto. The old man once told the Bijou and I that some dimensions tend to share similar aspects, and this happens to be one of them, said Kurama. Naruto walked away back to the bus station. That's true. Anyway, where our next destination would be? How about this place, Akihabara? I hear they sell some pretty cool stuff, so it won't hurt to check it out. He suddenly heard something akin to a chick cheeping. Feeling curious, Naruto strayed off the path and followed the sound as he took note that the cheeping became faster and felt a motion of panic, causing him to move quickly till he stopped at a tall tree and looked up to see a large bird attacking the source. Naruto took out a shuriken from a seal on his wrist, which he then threw to purposely miss, but was enough to scare the attacker away. Then he quickly climbed up to the top and saw a chick with red feathers. It was very hurt. Damn, I can't believe that bird to do something like this. I'm not picking up any scent of its parent. Best use my chakra to heal it, said Kurama. The chick saw the stranger and fox and started to panic when the human reached out to grab it and tried to escape, but the injuries were too much for that intention to work. The human scooped it up in his hands as it closed its eyes in fear, when suddenly a warm sensation came over it, and the pain went away. The chick opened its eyes to see a golden flame covering its body before fading away, and that the human was smiling. They're all better now. Let's put you back and watch out for that crazy bird, okay? Said Naruto. He placed the red chick back on the branch, but no sooner he did than the bird hopped back into his hand, much to his confusion. I'm done healing you, so just wait here for your parents, okay? He put the bird back and again it jumped into his hands, this time hopping onto his spiky hair and settled itself there comfortably. What's going on here? Apparently this chick sees you as its parent, said Kurama. What? But it doesn't make sense, especially since it hatched long ago, Naruto protested. Actually, in a way it does, due to there being no scent of the supposed parent, and you protected it from that bird and healed it. So the chick imprinted itself upon you. Naruto wanted to say more but couldn't, just felt that this was going too fast, so it stuck with me, huh? Yep, so what are you going to name it? I got nothing, let's talk about this later, okay? Got a lot on my mind. Naruto climbed back down to the ground and walked away. It's getting kinda hot. Must be the heat of the sun. Weeks later, Naruto was swinging with his chakra chains in his Zenko gear as he was on the move in Tokyo in the nighttime. He was currently in search of any crimes to deal with before packing up and leaving Japan for his next destination. He currently let go of a chain to somersault a few times before landing on a roof, then ran along to leap off the edge towards a skyscraper, where he ran along the wall and fired a chain at another building to swing off and dive to the streets below. Naruto grabbed onto streetlight pole and spun around several times before using the momentum to launch himself into the air and land on a moving commercial bus. He waited briefly before jumping towards an alley and bounded up the walls to the roof. There he leapt along the rooftops and perched on top of a water tower. He was currently scoping out the area when he heard a cheep, and something poked out from his hood to appear beside his head. It was the young bird, but it had grown quite a bit with beautiful plumage. Naruto smiled fondly as he rubbed its neck, and it was enjoying it. "I see you're relaxing, Sigmas, you lazybones," he chuckled when the bird chirped in protest. Suddenly he heard gunshots, and looked to see a group of men dressed in black tuxedos, while wearing black masks engaging the police in a gunfight, and here I thought that I wouldn't find something to do tonight. Prepare for another action-packed episode. Naruto bounced on his toes before jumping off the water tower towards the fight below. The police were taking cover behind their vehicles to avoid the gunfire from the masked gangsters. One of the policemen poked his head over to look, and was stunned when one of the gangsters took out a firearm that they weren't supposed to have. "Men, run. One of them has an RPG, rocket-propelled grenade, ready to fire at us." The rest of the enforcers scrambled to escape the incoming blast, but the warning came too late, as the gangster fired a grenade towards them. The explosive projectile was halfway when someone landed in front of it. Then he took out a scroll and unfurled it as he called out "seal." And the grenade disappeared in a puff of smoke, much to the shock of both sides. Having a clearer look, they recognized who the person is. It's Zenko. The guy who helped take down those Yakuza from the other city. What's he doing here? Naruto put the scroll away in his pouch, and faced the gangsters as he called out to them, "Didn't your mothers tell you never to play with guns, or RPGs for that matter? They're toys for grown-ups after all." That apparently ticked them off. "What did you say?" "You're dead, pal. They all aimed their guns at him, ready to fire. Naruto simply smirked, and the red dragon tattoo glowed before Banrai appeared in his hands, and he took a combat stance. "Let's go, Banrai." No sooner did the gangsters started shooting that Naruto twirled the chain sickles like nunchaku around him at high speed to slice each and every one of the bullets into halves as he defended. The police watched him in awe. It wasn't long before the gangsters finally ran out of ammo, leaving them open for Naruto to start with his attack. He reached into his pouch and launched a volley of shuriken to knock the firearms, especially a wind-enhanced shuriken, to slice through the RPG that was aiming for him. Naruto leapt into the air and shot out a chakra chain to strike the ground in the middle of the group before pulling himself towards them while nailing two gangsters in the face during his descent. The others brandished katana and wakizashi to attack. Naruto twirled Banrai once more to deflect the incoming strikes, and then countered one with a roundhouse kick and ducked under a slash and knocked three of them down with a low sweeping kick before performing a handspring kick to strike the gangster coming in from behind. Naruto noticed one of the gangsters running away from the fight and shot out a chakra chain to wrap around his waist. "Get back here." Then pulled it back to swing him about to slam into the three gangsters that had gotten back to their feet to be knocked to the ground again, and this time losing consciousness. The whole place was silent till Naruto turned to the police after putting away Banrai and cleared his throat rather loudly for them to hear before speaking. "Aren't you guys going to do the rest of your job?" That seemed to have snapped the enforcers out of their stupor, as they quickly made their way to the defeated and handcuffed them whilst returning the stolen money back to its rightful, with the leader approaching Naruto to speak with him. "Thanks for the help, Zenko. If you weren't here, there would have casualties," said the police officer. Naruto simply waved him off. "It's no problem at all. I saw that you guys needed help and provided just that. Even so, thanks, especially the taking down of those Yakuza clans back then. Those two were the most powerful in the district until you showed up to take them down. I hope to see you around." "Maybe so, catch you later." Naruto shot a chakra chain to a nearby building and pulled himself up before swinging away, while many bystanders who had been recording the fight watched him leave. Elsewhere, Naruto was swinging through the buildings and running across the rooftops when he suddenly landed on a rooftop and skidded to a stop with a slight frown behind his mask. Sigmas poked its head from the hood and looked at Naruto as if asking what the matter was, and was gently shushed to be quiet before speaking out loud. "You can come out now. I know that you've been following me." He heard footsteps from behind and turned around to see someone appear from behind a large billboard. It was a female with short black hair and her face covered by a red mask with only her eyes and mouth exposed. She wears a red and yellow outfit having plated armor around the hips with black gloves and boots. Naruto took note of the blades strapped to her back, with one of them giving him a chilling sensation. I wonder who this girl is? Thought Naruto. I have no clue, but watch out for that sword of hers. I'm sensing some strange energy from it, said Kurama. Naruto mentally nodded in affirmation and faced the mysterious stranger. Who are you and why were you following me? The woman was silent for a moment before finally replying, I believe that one is supposed to introduce themselves before asking for another's name. Normally yes, but it's obvious that you know who I am, otherwise you wouldn't have been following me. The woman smirked a bit at the response. Very well then, Zenko-san, my name is Katana. I must say that I'm impressed with how you were able to detect me. Only the true masters in the art of stealth could find my presence, which isn't surprising considering that you're a shinobi. Merely standing from this distance, I can feel great power from you. Naruto was mildly surprised at her ability to sense his chakra, but responded nonetheless since he doesn't sense any negativity from her. Thanks for the compliment. I can also tell that you're pretty strong yourself with how you hold yourself. But is there another reason why you came looking for me? You're right. I was looking for you to ask that despite undergoing training as a ninja, why do you use your skills to help others, to be a hero? Normally a shinobi is to be loyal to his clan, so why? Naruto was silent for a moment from her question. Why does he help others, especially since this isn't his world, and should be focusing more on going back home? However, these thoughts were banished no sooner they appeared as past experiences reminded him of how far he came from the day of his birth to now. He turned towards Katana and responded to her question. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to become the strongest so that I would be acknowledged by everyone in my village. But that changed a bit when I started meeting people with different ideals and learnt a lot from them, and in turn taught others. I learnt never to abandon my comrades no matter what, that true strength comes from your desire to protect the people close to you. I don't do this just to be a hero, but because I want to help others when they need it. Which is why I'll never give up, never run away or go back on my word. For it's my ninja way. Katana was taken aback by, she could tell from the sound of his voice that the ninja was young, and yet such conviction is very rare to be seen. Which was why she asked this next question. If so, then why are you all the way out here instead of being in your village? Katana noticed the ninja let out a sigh of depression before he responded. Due to certain circumstances, I ended up being displaced from my village with no way of returning. But I'm still searching for a way back, but in the meantime I decided to help the citizens in any way I can till then, said Naruto. I see, then Katana thought where would his village be that he couldn't return to so easily? I'd best get going. This is my last night here in Japan, said Naruto. Katana was rather surprised. You're leaving, why were you even here? Last I heard you operated mostly in Gotham. I came here to train a bit as well as get some R&R, while helping out here and there. Now that I'm well rested and gotten some training in, it's time for me to get a move on, said Naruto. Where will you be going? Asked Katana. Naruto wagged a finger and spoke with a voice laced with amusement. Now, I can't go telling you just like that. After all, a ninja is very particular about information, you know. Katana smiled as well. So will I see you again? Now that I can tell you, I'll eventually come back here. All you need to do is keep an ear out on the news to find out where I am. Till then, I'll catch you later. Naruto reached for his mask and lowered it enough to expose his blue eyes, which seemed to sparkle with light, and winked at Katana before putting it back on, then taking a running leap off the rooftop while shooting out a chakra chain and swinging away with Katana watching him leave. He's an interesting one. Most ninjas kill their emotions to avoid complications in their missions. But he wears his emotions on his sleeves. I look forward to meeting him again and maybe engage in a spar, said Katana with a smile. Several hours later, a plane had taken off from the airport, and was en route to its marked destination. Inside the cargo hold, Naruto was currently reclining on some wooden boxes whilst snacking on some potato chips, and Sigmiz was pecking at some too. Due to technically not existing, he plans to forge some records for himself to get around more easily, since Gotham would leave behind a paper trail if he did that with someone like Batman capable of tracing him, which is why where he's going might make things a little easier for him to forge some. Naruto took out a magazine from nearby and opened it up to read. One of the titles on the cover was written Metropolis.